Welcome to the number line strategy, addition for 3-digit numbers. I'm going to add the numbers 157 and 266. First, I'm going to draw my number line. Then I'm going to choose either 266 or 157 to start at the beginning of my number line. I'm going to choose 266. The first step is to decide how you're going to do a skip. I'm looking at the number 157 and I see that there are 7 ones, 5 tens, and 100. And I'm going to first use my ones to skip. In my head, I know by looking at 7 that it's also kind of like a group of 3 and 4 together. Using that idea, I can skip by 4 because I know that 4 and 6 make 10. So I know that 266 and 4 more is 270. So now I've used up my 4. And the next skip I'm going to choose is to use up the rest of my ones. So I'm going to skip 3 more, which is going to bring us up to 273. That uses up the rest of my ones. Now in my head, I know that I'm at 150 left of 157. So the next skip I'm going to do, I'm going to choose to do the hundreds first, and then we'll deal with the 50s after. If you wanted to do your tens before the hundreds, that works too. So I'm going to skip up 100. And now I look at 100 more than 273 is 373. And now I'm left with 50 out of my 157. And I'm looking at 373, and in my head I'm trying to decide what's the best way or the easiest part of 50 to work with to skip up. Well, I know that 5 is kind of like, or 50, sorry, is kind of like 20 and 30, and I know that 30 and 70 make a new 100, so I can skip up by 30 to bring this to, well, new group of 100 would be 400s. My ones stay the same, and because I regroup my tens, I'm left with 0 tens, so that brings me up to 403. And in my head, I know that I'm left with 20 out of my 157, so my next skip is going to be 20 up from 403. And now I'm at 423. The best part about the number line strategy is you don't have to choose the skips that I did. You can use the skips that work best for you. I'm going to show adding 157 plus 266 in a different way using the number line but with different skips. So let's get 157 plus 266 written back up here. Draw my number line. And I'm going to start at 266 again. This time, I'm going to look at my 157 and think in my head, well, 100s are pretty easy to work with, especially if it's a 100. And I know that 100 plus 200 is 300, so I'll skip up by that first. So now I'll be at 366. What's going to be easiest to skip up by next? I know that I'm left with 57 of my 157. So, well, let's go with the ones now. I know that 7 is like a group of 3 and a group of 4 together. So I'm going to use up my 4 first. And that will bring me to 370. And then I'm going to use my 3 next. You know what? I'll leave the 3 for now. Now, since this is an even 10, 370, it would be pretty easy to add my 10s. So let's go for the 5, and let's break that into a part of 20 and a part of 30. I know that 30 plus 70 is 100, so I'm going to add that next, which brings us up to 400 because I have a new group of 100. Cross that off. And next I'll finish off my 10s by skipping up 20 to 420. So I've used up my 20. And so I'm left with my 3. So my last skip is going to be up by 3, which brings me to 423. Sorry for writing near the side. So you see, you can choose whatever skips work best for you and whatever you find to be the easiest to work with. But maybe you want to add 157 and 266 using adding from the right on the number line, just to keep everything in order. So that would be starting with our hundreds, then adding our tens, then adding our ones. That's okay too. So let's start by drawing our number line. Again, I'm going to put 266 at the start of my number line. I usually like to start with the bigger number, but it's up to you. So the first skip that I'm going to do, like I said, was add my hundreds. From 266, if I skip up 100, I have 100 plus 200 is 300. So that will be 366 because my 66 stays. So I've used up my 100. Next, let's skip up our tens, so by 50. This is where, unless I wanted to break down my tens, it gets a little trickier in my head. I know that my 6 ones and 0 ones means that my 6 will stay the same. I look at my tens, and I have 5 tens and 6 tens, and I know that that's doubles and one more, so 5 plus 5 is 10, or 50 plus 50 is 100, plus one more would be 110. So I leave my 110. And then I had 300, but I need to add one more, so that would be 416, which finishes off my tens. And last, I can add my ones, and that would be 7. So then I look at my ones of 7 and 6. I know that that's like doubles plus 1, so 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 1 more is 13. So I have 3 ones. I had 110, and I have one more from my 13, so now I'm at 23. And I had I had 400s, and I'm not adding any new 400s, so now I'm at 423, which would be my answer. Next, I'll show you if you wanted to add from the right. So that would be starting with your ones, then adding your tens, then adding your hundreds. So with the numbers 157 and 266, again, if we wanted, first we'll draw our number line, and I'll start again with 266. But this time I'm going to start by skipping up by my ones. So I'm going to add 7 ones. I have 7 ones and 6 ones, which is like doubles plus 1. So that's 12, plus 1 more is 13, which means I have 3 ones, 1 new 10 plus my old 6 tens is 7 tens, and my 200s. That uses up my ones. Next, I'm going to skip up by 50. I have 0 ones plus 3 ones is 3 ones. 5 tens plus 7 tens is kind of like doubles plus 2 more. So 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 2 more is 12, and 12 tens means 120. So I'll write my 2 tens, and my new 100 plus my old 200 is 300, which takes care of my tens. And now last skip, I'll add my 100. I had 3 ones, so I still have 3 ones. I had 2 tens, so I still have 2 tens. And I had 3 hundreds, so now I have 423. So you can see that's 4 different ways that you can do the same addition equation using completely different skips, and you get to the same answer each time. Thank you very much for watching.